have more breaking news out of the association this morning. Our Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that Cavs All-Star Donovan Mitchell has agreed on a 3-year, $150.3 million maximum contract extension that includes a player option for the 27-28 season. That news, again, just breaking this morning. So, Wendy, I'm going to start with you on this one. What more can you tell us about the Cavs keeping their star?
Yeah, so I want to say two things about this. One, this is a huge moment for the Cavs franchise. I would say it's the second biggest contract signing in the history of the team, dating back to 1970, after LeBron coming back in 2014. This is a player who they invested an enormous amount in. 3 unprotected first-round picks, pick swaps, a number of young players. They absolutely had to secure him. The reason the Jazz traded him 2 years ago was they weren't sure he would sign this extension in a place that wasn't one of his preferred destinations, possibly even New York. The Cavs bet on themselves, bet on the roster that they had 2 good playoff seasons. He had a terrific season this last year. He would have been All-NBA had he not gotten injured. And, arguably been he's arguably the second best player in franchise history already. Kyrie Irving's resume has a championship on it, but Donovan Mitchell can put himself there behind LeBron James. It is a huge accomplishment for them. It was far and away their number one priority of this offseason. It hung over their coaching search, which was stressful and took a month. And there was a year ago, after the Cavs had a very, very disappointing loss in the first round to the Knicks, there were many NBA teams who were planning on trying to make a move for Donovan Mitchell on July 2nd, 2024, not watching Adrian report that he had a $150 million extension. So before I move on to the second point, unqualified, successful celebration day for the Cavs. Now, this is functionally a 2-year contract because there's a player option in there, and he's not doing it because he doesn't believe in the Cavs. He's doing it, as Woj has said, to get to the 10-year mark of his career, which gives him in a better contractual situation. I can go on for that for a while, but at the end of the day, needs to be pointed out that the Cavs will have stress again in 2026 because of the option, he will then be a year away from free agency. So it is a great moment and something that they should totally bask in, but they still have to get to work. And in an improving Eastern Conference, they still have a big job ahead of them.
I think the most important thing here is that more than anything, it just calms the situation down for Cleveland when they're going through a transition and they're bringing in Kenny Atkinson as their new head coach. This is a guy that had a lot of success developing players in Brooklyn, but didn't get to stick around when they had an opportunity to go get the big players and go win. Now you have Donovan Mitchell, who is telling everybody, this is good. I'm happy to be here. It may be just for the short period that he's committed to, these 2 years, but more importantly than anything else, I'm buying in to what Kenny Atkinson is selling, and that's the voice that you have to need, or that you have to have backing you up as you're trying to move this team forward in the Eastern Conference. We're all, I think, collectively still kind of overlooking the Cavaliers in the East because they're still not on that top tier yet. But Donovan Mitchell staying here and committing to what he did is sending that message to the rest of this team.
You know, sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side. I think a lot of times in the NBA, we see moves happen with top players because they want to go and get instant gratification. But I really like this move by Donovan Mitchell because I think leaving Utah, a lot of the questions were, okay, is he going to really find a home somewhere else? And is that place going to be Cleveland? Or is he going to look to see if the grass is greener elsewhere? But he chose to stay. And to me, that's huge, not just for the Cleveland Cavaliers, their organization, but also for the maturation of Donovan Mitchell. I mean, last year he had a sensational year, and I know he was banged up sort of for the latter quarter, and he still showed up and showed out. He averaged 29 points. I think this team finished 4th in the East. They are one of those candidates that I think are trying to improve, and it may not be huge leaps of improvement, but they have a solid squad. And I think for a while when it comes to the Cavs, there was this idea of what is the hierarchy of power, because they had their backcourt that one was an all-star one year, another was an all-star another year. Who's going to lead on each night? They all know that Donovan Mitchell is that guy. I think the question internally was, would he want to stay? And it's so hard for players of Donovan Mitchell's caliber to choose a market like Cleveland. And the fact that he did that speaks volumes about the direction of this team and also the direction that Donovan wants to do, because this is a team that I really feel like is more decent than people even understand. They have great defense. I think there were question marks about Mobley. I don't know if y'all saw how he finished in the postseason. He was coming up big, even though that was a very tough situation. They have really good pieces. They have a new coach, and I do think that Donovan saw all of those things and said, hey, maybe the best place for me is right here.